everybody. Welcome to the Hangout.
Hey, everyone,
So
we're back.
before I begin, I think that it's important that somebody out there, somebody has to be able to save Lynn. She fell down a rabbit hole. Lynn, I
Happened.
know how that feels. I definitely know how that feels. Let me go ahead and bring up the word of the hour. Actually, not the hour, the word of the 15, 20 minutes, right? Because our hangouts are a little bit slower, or excuse me, quicker, maybe slower. This is halfway through. Thank you for whoever mentioned that. I think Katie mentioned that we're halfway through. The secret word is rank. Go ahead and type that in. Oh, and we have a special addition to this hangout. Are you guys ready? This could be a precursor of the Midnight Madness. It's Steven! Hi, Steven. How are you?
Well, computer's working, so that's a plus.
That's
We'll see
a
how long
plus.
this goes. We'll see how
Okay,
long.
guys. So type in rank. You can type it in uppercase, lowercase. It has to be one word. Type it in, and what happens is we collect the responses. So if you type it in 100 times, it's only going to count once per person. And at the end of this live cast, this hangout, we will draw for the prize winner. The prize winner will be contacted by Awin after the thought for a list of what you win. I think most people get a mug, but Chris is trying to get a shirt. And we actually lost Chris. So just so everybody knows, this is live. You never know what we do. Chris just gets up out of his chair, walks away, shows us his closet, his personal belongings.
He wanted to match my hat.
Yes, or you can have things like cats deciding to join you.
Oh, I see. You have the Celtics hat for my Brewers hat. The sports don't even match, Chris.
The sports don't match, but I will tell you, before we went live, Snowflake was extremely angry at Darren for not. Yeah. I mean, such a diva, Darren, such a diva. I like this. Darren has my cat. Darren, when did you steal a cat?
No,
it was mine. And how's everything in Packerland?
How is everything in Packerland? Well, it's hot. It's humid. It sucks. I don't like summer. I'm trying to work in my apartment, but there's not much airflow, so I've been out of my apartment lately. I just got back, actually. That's why I was a couple minutes late. Heading down to the Quick Trip. You know, that's a very Wisconsin thing.
Oh, it's a very Georgia thing, too. How cool.
Oh, it must not be spelled the same. I don't think they actually have these in the Southeast. You know, these are Midwestern Quick Trips, but yeah, they call them cuties in like other parts of the country. And it's like another company that's actually naming theirs that. Yeah, that's cool to hear. You'll be in Dallas and Waukesha. You know, I'm pretty much next to West Dallas, so. But I'm in also. It's gonna be stressful next week because my company is in the process of changing offices, and I'm one of the last holdouts in our building, and so the final move date is the end of Wednesday. So I'm kind of glad this is happening over the weekend, and I can just like focus on that next week. You know,
but put it off and focus on that. So have the fun with WikiTree this weekend.
Trying.
And then move on. So how's everybody doing? Yeah, that's true. This is what we call it. We call it QT. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's Quick Trip, but down south we always got to shorten something. Or down south everything has to end in IE.
We spell ours with K.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about. So
we got QWIK Quick.
Yeah.
Wait, that's not right. No, KWIK Quick. I always get my K's and Q's backwards.
Yeah, well, we have Cumberland Farms up here.
And this is I just came back from Packerland, and it was unbelievably hot. It's been a hot year up here. It's definitely been hot. So I wanted to bring up rank for a reason. This is something fairly new. If you've noticed looking at profiles, let me bring up one. If you notice looking at profiles, you might have noticed something right here. Yeah. And it's different colors. This one is content rank 10. 10 is the highest. A lot of times if they're private, they might say 1 even though they're excellent profiles. So I want to caution that. But what this does is gives a little bit of opportunity for show where we can improve the profile and make it a little bit nicer and cooler for cousin bait. So if somebody wants to really detail a profile, it helps with the rank of Google. And we were talking about this in a separate, chat in our Thon channel. If you have a notable or, great grandfather, and you do a search for them and it says WikiTree, and you don't know what WikiTree is, and you click on it and you come into WikiTree and it's a blank profile, I'm out. I don't know what this WikiTree thing is, so I would leave. But if I had a really, really full detail that had photos and details, categories, stickers, shared the life of somebody, then what I might do is stick around and read it. I'm curious on the story. I'm curious of how I might be related. And as you go through the profile, then you see what? What is this? This is actual sources. Isn't this cool? WikiTree allows you to put sources. And then as you go a little bit further, you can see DNA confirmations. And that's really key for me if I'm looking for a brick wall in this family line. Or if somebody comes to me and say they're an MPE and somehow related to me, if I get them to join WikiTree, then we can see maybe how we're related and then go over to GEDmatch, for example, and go through. And memories, as you know, I love memories. I talk about memories. I'll be talking about it in a little bit more detail tomorrow. But the memories section to me is an area where you can put a personal story, not necessarily a biography of the person, but it's a personal story or memory, a recipe. We were talking about recipes yesterday that you could put. Anything that might relate to something personal with you and your relationship with this person. So kind of cool. Contact rank. Check it out. I just put the link in the chat and it gives you all the components on how to improve that rank. And that's why we are using it for our secret word today. So really
Now,
cool.
I do find that a lot of the profiles that don't even have images and things on them still rank out at 10 because Google is mainly basing this on text. I mean, it certainly helps to have beautification on the profiles, but the images don't seem to be applying to reaching that number, as I've noticed, But your profile is amazing. It should be like a 12 or a 13 or something.
I think they give like a tick mark almost. It feels like, for a photo, but if you put many of photos up there, you already got your tick mark. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So there's a checklist you can click on within content rank. Like if you look at that actual profile itself, I think there's another sub window that opens up and it defines like all the different categories in which if you've met those parameters or not.
But the further back you go, there's not going to be any pictures, so I don't know how you can have to get your rank up other ways too, like sources and all that stuff. Yeah. DNA confirmation also helps too. I have this like unknown lady as a profile on my tree, and I think her CR is like 5 or something like that. Let me look real quick.
Yeah, the question mark. Thanks.
And I'll say, Laura, that usually the 8 p.m. hour, 8 p.m. Eastern hour, this one, we try to bring tips. This has kind of become the tip hour that we bring in. So we try to bring in a tip, and then we talk about it, about how it relates to us and how it works as well, and what you can use it. The other reason that's really cool that Steven's here, he also does the new member Q&A.
Yes, Lynn, I have tried the WikiTree browser extension, and I haven't used that particular feature in it, but I'll try it later, I guess.
And then, something else too, this does appear on your watch list as well. So if you're like, I don't know the rank, and you could there is a WikiTree Plus option. I'm not going to show that because it takes a little bit of time to show that. But if you're interested in the WikiTree Plus option, hit me up on Discord. Send me a private message on Discord, and I'll show you how to get that. But the rank does now show on your watch list as So if you're going through and you see any that are like the pinkish color or something like that, it gives you something. Here's one that's red that tells me, I should probably do something with that. But there's also a dilemma. I don't really do a lot of research in Sweden. I did as much as I could do, and then I'm going to send it to Stephen.
Hi. Well, I'm going to be polite. I just, okay, this is the first time I've actually seen content rank on here. So is this through the actual wiki itself, or is this from one of the extensions that's adding it to this list?
I believe this is a good question. This watch list has been, well, here you go. We'll be able to see, because up top, it'll tell me highlight wiki WBE features that are on this watch list. So I just clicked it. Oops. Sorry, just lost a puppy. So it's not highlighted.
So it is integral.
I think
it's actually built into the system then.
Yep, I think so. And that's another little tip. If you're up here anywhere on any page enhanced by the WikiTree browser extension, which we call WBE, if you click on this little thing, it says it'll show you which features are WBE. So let me type in this more WBE, and it'll show me which features are going to be
the adding of images and things.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of a side tip there. But if you want to look at some of your rank, and then you can sort by this as well. Just click here and you can sort by it as well. Now, don't get offended by rank. You might think you have a fantastic profile, but it maybe just doesn't have all the little, like Stephen said, items on the checklist. So don't get offended. And there's sometimes we will never have DNA confirmation on a lot of our far back ancestors. So that won't be something that we will be able to check. So
right, that doesn't even apply necessarily into those. I have CR10s that show up on non-DNA connected profiles. So I think it's mainly the string of text it's looking for more than anything else. They're very high on the
things, and they say they like headers too. Now here's a question for everybody. Here's a really good question. Do you like to write your profiles in long narrative form, or do you like headers, like family?
Both.
I think she just got muted.
Yeah.
Your voice cut out, Sandy.
My voice cut out. So do you like the headers? Do you like the headers? So long narrative for biography, where it lists just their whole life, like kind of like this one I just showed you? Or do you like to have, this is their birth, and this is what happened and where they were, and then this is their, maybe college life, and then this is their marriage and their kids, but they're headers. And what I mean by headers is use those equal signs on both sides. So do you like the long narrative without it broken up so it becomes a short story? Or do you like to break it up so it's easy to see parts of a person's header? And this is for everybody. I'm curious what those in the studio and those in chat.
Well, me personally, I have profiles where they are very lengthy because I have a lot of data on them. And so I do need to break them up by time frame. So I use, about 20 year gaps to define, so like 1860 to 1879, and then I put everything that falls within that window because I found them in so many locations. I think it's a lot better for like newspaper stuff that I usually find in like the 20th century, so then I can cluster all those together in the same area, and I can create more of and there's more of a temporal timeline in a way of all the things that happen in sequence. And it also helps me with research on other related individuals, like their wives, their kids, and you can see where everybody was at the same time. Household tables for the census help, because then you can see what everybody else was doing or what their ages were. I try to create a nice framework that all of the people that are related to each other have something that someone else can follow. They see it and they'd be like, okay, all these people were at this area at this time.
And what's interesting about that? Again, to use my example, if I come into WikiTree from a Google search or something like that, and I come into WikiTree, and I might not know those other people that you found and connected, but now I'm hooked. I'm in and I'm seeing who you're connecting. And you might have in-laws with different surnames, and I'll go, oh, I recognize those surnames from the same area. So that's a really interesting avenue you're taking there, Stephen.
Yeah. And if I cut out, it's because my computer hates StreamYard or vice versa.
Oh.
There's a little bit of glitchiness happening now. I think it's because it's not properly cooling. And this is kind of an older computer now that's getting phased out. So just letting you know, kind of giving you a heads up. And I'm trying to close a couple of tabs to limit the amount of memory that it's taking to do that.
And, you know, I will say I spent some time today in the 1600s. There's some slow work. You're not kidding. You know, that is research. That is not something that you can just use Sourcer and grab 50 different sources and dump on a profile. That is slow work. So thank you for working on those. Those are not easy at all.
Yeah, I'm in the rabbit hole in Sicily myself. That's a lot of work too. And their
They are.
records are like 1820. So I'm almost there. So, but yes, sometimes I use headers just depending on what I want to say. Usually it's just like a quick bio of somebody I don't even know or never knew, just like a quick bio. But I will add some contents, I guess, if there's something to talk about.
But I think the important thing to remember is that it depends. It depends on the length of the profile. If it's a short profile and you don't have enough data to fill in multiple sections, there's no point in sectioning them. You know, you're just writing the narrative straight from the very first item to the very last item chronologically. And then if it starts to get out of hand, you're using your best judgment to then say, okay, maybe we could start putting some sections in between these, these nodes here, break it up a little bit. I believe there's also a way to float directly to a section. If you have a table of contents that's produced, you can then click on that and it goes straight to it. Did you also know there's a way to hide the table of contents?
Yes.
So there's a code that you can put in there, underscore, no TOC, underscore. And so if that table of contents is super obnoxious and getting your way, it'll remove it automatically upon your viewing. So maybe that's a tip that people didn't know about. There's a little bit of wiki code there that you can utilize.
I must have missed Kathy. Kathy was going to join, but this is true. This is kind of what Stephen just said. The one sentence. If you do have just one sentence, most of the time they died in 1938 and they're buried here. I'm not really sure if that needs a header. That's for my personal choice. I'm not really sure. So it's interesting. And now, you say for life transitions, Carol, but when I first read this, I first read it and saw it as translation. So another good idea for headers is if you're putting two languages on a profile.
Yeah.
Some of the German categories and pages, multiple languages, and some of the profiles are in multiple languages as well.
And I think that this probably sums it up, Arlene. Thank you. I think the use of headers depends on the information that's available.
Right. There it is.
So that kind of sums it up. And this is very interesting. So I have started to do this. All photos need words, so people who cannot see images do know what it is. And I've started to use the alt, but I've used it more as a comment on the photo page when I put the photo up. Not easy to find though, right? So if you click on the photo, you're not really going to bring it up. You'd have to go to the photo page. But I thought that maybe that would help a little bit as we go.
Alt text is good for accessibility. If someone is, having issues seeing, not necessarily blind, but maybe the text is too small.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good point.
Yeah, or screen readers.
Now, and then Carol, again, you're going to bring a really good point up. Not only because it's Outlander, we were talking about Outlander this time last night, but creative writing and genealogy writing really truly are two different things. And that's why I'm like, if you have if everybody has like something that they want to say about the person that is something you experience is funny or a joke or a laugh or something sad or a recipe or something like that, that's when those memory sections come in play. Take it out of the bio. Take it out of the bio and put it in that memory section where it fits better. Because as we write as a narrative based on genealogical details, it makes sense.
Actually, I came across a profile like this recently. Whenever I see the usage of the word I, This means the person wrote it in the first, the personal tense. And if there was a way for me to copy it and put it into the memory section, I probably would do that. But cleaning up other people's stuff, I usually just end up putting it either in a research notes section, or I just consolidate the thought into some other way, case to case basis again.
And that's a good point, case by case basis in JegCom mess, JegCom junk. If somebody put it up there and say they put 5-10 years ago, they put up 1,000 JegCom profiles and didn't go back and clean it up. But now we can a little bit easier. You can
consolidate. And our roles have changed in the last decade too. I mean, we've had a lot of new rollings or, new things for G2G that we decided on what's good for formatting, what's good for presentation. Mm-hmm. And maybe what we came up with in 2008, is no longer valid.
And I gotta agree with, for me personally. Now, what you guys like and do, as long as it's in the style guide, which both of these options are in the style guide, by the way. Yes, so most biographies do not need headers and headings. I remember when I started WikiTree, everything had a heading. Everything had a separate heading because I thought methodically that's how I do it in my brain. And then you look at it, and it's for me, for some of mine, they were just too messy.
Well, we already have headings, right? Biography itself is a heading. Sources, references is its own heading, right? So I think we're all talking about subheadings. Subheadings are within the existing headings that we have.
And they just don't need, like, if they were married a certain time. There's sometimes if they had a very detailed military life, I will do a subheading there. But a lot of times that becomes a notable if they had a very detailed military life. And notables are, I think notables, the way I do those, are a little different as well. And here we go. So Carol's giving me a good example too of a notable. So it's a good conversation we had tonight. And remember, there's no right or wrong way as long as you follow the style guide. Right. And we brought this up because we were talking about rank, and we want to improve the rank of the profile, because the more really valid information, and as everybody's kind of said, the information should be accurate, not creative writing. And if you add some photos and things like that, it really does help with the Google ranking as well. So if somebody is looking for a particular person in their ancestry list and they search for them, if your profile is really good ranking, it could come up higher, and that would be really great. And they would see you, and that's cousin bait, and in a nutshell.
And assuming it's not already a notable, because if there are other profiles out there, like the Wikipedia will trend a lot higher than other sites, because it's usually what the AI pulls from, and so the AI metric is basing it on what's the most readily available information, and the Wikipedia ranking is like highest. I think it's what it's pulling from first. So I'm not sure if we're ever going to be able to like top that if there's an existing article for that person.
No, we won't.
A lot of cases of people that we're talking about are not notables, and they're going to be the only location of the story, the information on the internet.
The only hit you might get. And the cool thing, this is what I was telling people, and I know that you guys are tired to hear me saying this, but you'd be amazed how many people I talked to. I mean, I talked to like hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of people at Roots this year, and they kept wanting to know why WikiTree was so different. So my first is, we're a community. We source, we have an honor code. Those are the very basics, because there's other sites out there that you can throw anything up there and nobody's really looking at it, right? So we're one tree and we care. But the other thing is, we're free cloud storage. So put those photos up there. But somebody out there could have a Bible, and they didn't know that they're supposed to share it. They don't know how to share it. But now with WikiTree, they've got a place to share it, free cloud storage, and they can share it. But they just happen to do a random search for like a fourth great grandparent and see, oh, okay, Sandy has the same grandparent. Let's work together. Maybe it's a brick wall. And if you're talking globally, right here, I know that we have 3 different locations from the United States, but Darren's all the way on the other side of the world. Yeah. So there's zero chance I can research where Darren lives in Darren's records. It's not my wheelhouse. And that's another beauty of WikiTree, the power of WikiTree, so you can get the help outside of your own wheelhouse, because as we know, our ancestors didn't always stay in the same place.
Yeah.
That's true. And
Okay.
back to talking about like notables and stuff. I just actually a while back I did a profile for Peter David, the comic book writer. He passed away in May, and
Mhm.
like almost instantly his CR rating jumped to like 8 because I made like a nice long bio. I put a sticker in, notable. He has Jewish roots, and I just summed up his Wikipedia page basically. I didn't really copy it verbatim. And for sources, I just put like his article on Wikipedia, IMDb, and a couple comic book articles. That's it. And that's how his profile got up that high. But I think it got up that high because he is notable. So what was notable. But
So to Sven's point, to Sven saying linking the profile or sites might help too. I mean, I believe we do try to do that. I know Azure was big on like cross connecting.
link builders.
The link builders, yeah. The link builders.
And so, we were trying to link off of Wikipedia to the WikiTree. I know that my own personal wiki, we were trying to get some links up between the two, and I think I'm still working on that. IMDb, like Chris was saying, might be another place where we can link them. Somebody else noted that, the names don't match all the time. A lot of times people that are actors and artists have alternative names that they've chosen, in their field. So they, in case they have a very similar name to somebody else, then they're choosing a different name for the purposes of their job. But we try to make sure that the profiles are as detailed as possible, so we have the birth name in addition to the given name or the stage name, right? So if all of that information is on the wiki, and it's not just in the top, it's actually in the narrative, then all of it is cross-referenceable and searchable, right? So in cases of those notables, anything that's accessible for us to edit. There's a lot of living notables that people can't touch outside of the notables project, but a lot of the deceased ones, we want to make sure those are as updated as we can.
And then I do think it's really important, and I appreciate this comment a lot, because I hear this comment so much. I mean, I hear it probably every other day. I'm not kidding, several times every other day. So we do need to cut people a little bit of slack. Not everybody's good at writing. Some people are shy. Some people don't give themselves enough credit for their writing, and they're worried that somebody's going to read something and find a typo or something like that, or not approve of the way that they wrote something. So I want to point out that even just a little bit of writing the details of what you found, it like Carol says, doesn't have to be fancy or creative writing. It can be in a fashion of genealogical research. I'm not going to bring up AI, but a lot of people do use AI. And if you do use AI, then ask it to write it in a genealogical mindset. That's just one hint. But I really don't want to get into AI. We're already 5 minutes late over. So I just wanted to mention that do you do a bio. It doesn't have to be a Pulitzer Prize.
We have an auto bio feature, by the way.
So we do, but
utilizing a bare bone AI creation to get the data.
That one's really, really bare bone. If you want to include a little bit more detail, and you know what I like to do, you mentioned Wikipedia. If they lived in a certain area or town, I will go to Wikipedia, grab that link of that town, and put it into the profile, because now I'm pulling in people looking at Wikipedia, and I'm taking them there and back and forth, and that's always a good thing too. So, and yes, please, like I said, I do not want to have an AI conversation. If you want to have an AI conversation, that is definitely an offline conversation I'll have with you, because we can spend the next straight 72 hours on just AI and never come to a conclusion on whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. So, but I agree, definitely proofread AI carefully. When it first came out, I did AI for me for biography. It had me with multiple kids. I have one. It had me a school teacher. I was actually not. I was a LMS professional vice president. So I was like, no, I don't think so. And then, thank you.
Somehow you got like five. Somehow you got like 6 fingers on your left hand.
I was going to say the fingers.
Yeah, I know. I love that, 2 eyes, 6 fingers. Two
I have
noses. So
I have my
if you click the like button for us, this does a couple things. It's not our ego, but it might be a little bit our ego, but it's not our ego. But if you click the like button, this helps WikiTree know that you actually like these hangouts. This is something that you find of some value and interest, and it also helps with their analytics on YouTube. So please click like, click the thumbs up, and go.
It creates higher content rank for us on YouTube.
Yeah, and where's that rank? That rank, right? Now, our goal is also to make sure that we get the highest thumbs up for Midnight Madness whenever we do Midnight.
Yes.
So, and one other thing before I let you guys go and we do the prize drawing is it is back. Guess the total. It does end before the noon Eastern tomorrow hangout, which
Yes. And
I know Chris and I are at the noon hangout tomorrow. So if you see us tomorrow at noon Eastern, it's too late to guess. And Chris gave a good tip. You gave a good tip at this noon one. Wait a little bit longer before you guess.
Yeah. Well, right now we're sitting at, let me look real quick.
I don't even know what the number is.
Well, we're sitting at 41,820. It's too early to really make a guess. But,
This is the halfway point.
but if you really, really want to make a guess, I would go for it. I'll make a guess in a couple minutes.
Okay, so you're going to put your guess up.
Just to make
In
everybody
a couple minutes.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait until 11:38 a.m. tomorrow.
1138. I see what you did there.
Took me a hot minute. Took me a hot minute to figure that one out. I will tell you, and before anybody else asks, and Darren asked me yesterday what's going on with Appalachia, what's going on with Sandy. Sandy normally has like 5 bazillion profiles added by now, and I don't. We're moving. So that's why you see a new place and everything, and bad lighting and everything else. So we're moving. I've been exhausted. One last time to write in rank. If you don't think you did it, feel free. Type it in again. One last time before we end up doing, and let me get it all situated.
Just one time, Laura.
Let me. Okay. I think we're ready. What do you guys do? And thank you guys. I'm sorry we're not supposed to go over, and I went over. So thank you guys for that. Okay, I don't do drum roll very well. Here we go. And it's going to slow down, and you think you won, but you didn't.
Yes.
Oh, it's Liz. It's Liz. Liz won. Liz Shiflett won. Congratulations, Liz. And you all know this, and she had to say y'all, so I got to tell you because I don't tell Liz this enough. And I am here on WikiTree because of Liz. She say that 5 times fast. And she was my mentor. She was the first one that said, hey, we worked on Southern Colonies together. Hey, let's work together. And she is the one who first gave me my PC badge. So Miss Liz was the first one who brought me in, and I'm here because of Liz. And I will tell you, if anybody is on the Appalachia project and you see our pages behind the scenes, Liz did all of it, all the coding and everything. So she's awesome. So thanks, Liz. Congratulations, Liz. And we will see y'all, right? See, it's everybody here in the studio and everybody here in chat. We will see y'all at the Midnight Madness.
Y'all come back now. You're here.
Yeah, bring your thinking cap on because we're going to ask you some interesting questions. You got to work. Bye, guys.
Later.